Hello everyone and welcome to this week's video. Something different. I'm in Spain on holiday. I picked up locally a little set of mini acrylics and 2 sheets of Canson paper. They were about 180 grams, I think those sheets are. And I decided that I can work with the paint on paper and then cut in a concertina fold to get it home. Here then, I'm putting down a ground before we're going out, hoping that will be nice and dry. I haven't bought brushes, so I'm using my hands, and I find a few tools that are useful. The challenge is to use every colour in that little acrylic set. They're not the best quality, but just the joy of being able to get some paint on paper is everything to me. We're going to visit a castle ruin this morning. So I'm trying this year to try and memorise things and maybe come back and record what I've held on to. Back at base camp then, and Craig donated a card that I can use as a little mixing palette, and then obviously I'll be able to use it as a tool to push paint around. I've been looking in the rock pools, and I did a very sort of scant ink pen drawing at speed. And I put that on top of the ground that I'd worked on before we went off to the castle. And I'm just experimenting here with different colours, and I'm just trying to take myself back to the spot to find that memory, to put me back in that place, if you like. Using here the Caran d'Ache watercolour pencil. I just bought one black pencil with me. They respond so well to a little bit of water, and I'm not really sure where I'm going with this. I'm just listening to the sound of the sea and looking out at the waves, getting completely carried away and possibly too much, going too far. But I know that I can pull back, that it's a question of bringing in some white paint, which I have very little of, so more white paint will be needed. all over this part of Spain are little villages like these, narrow streets, amazing textures and colours, the sound of Spanish voices. It's a really wonderful experience. And obviously at this time of year, so many things are blooming there. I had to photograph that Carmen wall. That's one of my favourite operas. Back to the beach. Back to the beach and this obsession with the rock pools. I'm working here with the ink pen, trying to just record the shapes of things very loosely, very lightly, not trying to be too in depth. I'm calling this page my homework sheet. I think about the long painting at home that I want to do, that I've started the paperwork on. This is a little spatula tool. It didn't have as much give in it as I'd hoped, but when in Rome, so floral, back to the florals, and again, just thinking about, not thinking about too much, just knowing that I want to experiment with the colours in that little set, just to see what might come. My thinking here was to try and introduce some small marks. Everything's about the same size, and some things need to be bigger, therefore, and some things smaller. So I'm just making an attempt here to try and introduce some smaller marks, an indication of perhaps a smaller floral. Oh, back to Buddy sketchbook. I'm most pleased. These are my favourite pages because I hadn't anticipated how that ground would lend itself to a little bit of pen work. I intend to work on the white edges, but I think it will be easier in this smaller format actually to actually complete each little page. Morning everyone, back in the cabin then, back to reality. I've pegged up my concertina work. Big old note to self here, do not fold and pack your acrylic paperwork when you've put it into concertina form, because if it's not 100% dry, it sticks. I really thought it was dry. It had about half a day to really get dry on the balcony because I couldn't leave it alone, and consequently I've got the odd hole and the odd tear. So I'm trying not to feel too disappointed about that. I wanted to treat this as a piece of homework and hope that it can help me with the long painting. But this one very much of the holiday, I'm seeing it, now it's cut, as actually the potential for a long painting. And I really enjoyed my favourite pages in Buddy are those. Just looking in the rock pools, crumbs, I could spend all day just wandering along. It's so interesting, it's wonderful. And last night, I'm trying really, really hard to draw from memory, and in the big old sketchbook, which seems to be never ending. It's lovely. I'm not actually getting to the end. I used watercolour pencils, my Caran d'Ache, my little collection of Caran d'Ache watercolour pencils, and then having started with the ink pen. So I'm really taken with wanting to explore that a little bit more. This, I thought, was a good example, almost like the painting. I've clipped it all down, but of two halves. That side is far more gentle, and too heavy-handed there. So I prefer the delicate look of that. So I'm trying to find my delicate side. What else? I used up. So the idea, as I said, was to challenge myself to try and use all the colours in that little packet of acrylics. The quality was obviously not going to be good, so everything looks dull. But nonetheless, I made a few discoveries. I had some good fun. The white paint, the larger tube of white paint, was the worst white paint. I think, it was ghastly stuff. But I used it up, and I didn't have to travel with paint. I didn't obviously travel with brushes. It was really, really a good exercise and good fun. For next week, because I need to really get this video loaded up, apologies for the late video last week. I do have the odd glitch with the technical side of YouTube load ups, for want of a better expression, but I persevere and I get there. Hopefully we'll all be good this week. I can share Spain. I just think if you're going on holiday, we're really into this backpack thing, so we just travel really, really light. But obviously there's only room. I can carry Buddy book, but there's no room for paint or brushes, etc. So you've got your hands and any other little tools that you can come across, things on the beach. It's fun, it's something very different. I didn't know what I was going to find, and that's half of the fun of it. So this was the Canson 180 gram. The one thing we know for sure is that the gesso is bone dry on this half on my half-size panel. So I think this morning, and to finish up this week, what I'd like to do is get down an initial ground, and I'm going to go in with those black marks. So I'm working all around, upside down, this way, just to warm into it. Quite a lot of wet paint now, so I'm going to let that dry. While that's drying, I thought I'd just show you. I loved just playing on the back of one of the sheets. I just had a bit of colour play and that's so vibrant, and the sun has come out at last. I can fold this back down, take it onto the sofa studio and have a little work on that. I am most pleased here where it's torn across. I could actually very carefully peel that paper back and stick it back into place. It doesn't matter. It's a nice little experiment. There's something good to come from all of this playful work. They're just exercises in marks, in the different marks, how colours work together. Maybe buy a little set of acrylics and challenge yourself to use all the colours. Maybe not use all the colours on one piece, but just see work in colours that you don't usually work in. The beauty of buying these inexpensive little tubes of acrylic almost allow you to experiment with colours that you wouldn't usually use, and you might come up with something that you absolutely love. Whatever you come up with this week, I hope it's good. I hope you have fun. And thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for commenting. And I will see you next week. Thanks a lot. Bye for now.